off the ground, you'll see what it looks like here in a frame in just a second. I haven't remembered to take up the landing gear, but it's going to happen here pretty quick. Anyhow, there you go. Landing gear is coming in. Finally dawned on me that I couldn't get it over 0.5 Mach, but too much drag with the landing gear. Anyhow, this is a totally dream machine, made up, fascinated, or somebody's imagination. This does not really exist, nor could it exist, because at the speed it flies, it would tear the rotor right off of it. Kind of reminiscent of the old TV series Airwolf, where the thing would do Mach something or other with the rotor. And may be wrong, but I don't think you can keep a rotor on a fuselage at that kind of speed. Anyhow, what this flight is going to be is I'm heading west right now, and towards San Francisco. Actually, I'm heading kind of southwest towards the sun. It's wintertime, so when I fly out to the coast and then fly down the coast to San Luis Obispo and make an aborted attempt to land because that runway is not near long enough. And then if you hang out long enough, or I trim out all the middle stuff, the garbage, my plane, there are some kind of neat scenes as the sun's setting and I start back from San Luis Obispo, where the sun is turning these clouds like you see right now into kind of the golden hue, perfect sunset type. The only good thing out of this whole playing for an hour on this simulator was I learned two things. One, the plane is almost uncontrollable. If you have a super light touch on the joystick, the control stick, you can kind of hold it, but it's really intense to fly. Here I'm trying to dropping down below the clouds, which are about 4,000 feet in this case, just so I can see the landscape tearing by. I'm not sure, I can't read the little screen here to see what the Mach rating is, but it does 0.904 or something like that Mach. And this is only the second time I've flown this thing. I'm surprised they even got it off the ground, but I did figure out how to start the second jet engine, which I guess runs the rotor, because you don't see the rotor spin up until, at least on the ground, until the second jet is ignited and brought up. The thing that naturally burns fuel like absolutely crazy. So pulling back up, it has an absolutely crazy climb rate, like a real jet. It climbs at 4,000 to 5,000 feet a minute when full throttle. I did run out of gas flying down the coast after I got south of San Francisco, somewhere along about Monterey. But the nice part about the simulator is you just click up into the menu and fill your tank back up midair, which would be nice if you could do that for real, but I don't think that's going to happen. Anyhow, I don't know if I can keep talking long enough to make this thing interesting. I can put music in, but then again, it's still, to me, the sound of the plane and the engines and the rotor are the music that I like. Excuse me, I'm kind of tired here. Anyhow, getting late today for me. And, excuse me for yawning. anyhow, when you try to turn, uh, it's like all jets. It's not a fighter jet. It's not going to go whoop and turn on a dime. So we're already at the coast, and it's only been 8 minutes since we left Merced. 8 minutes and 21 seconds. I think that's the coast. Maybe not. Anyhow, the other thing that I'll keep chatting here and blobbing along, but one of the things I tried, yep, this is the coast, and it's somewhere south of, I didn't check the map, see where it was on the map. I think it's somewhere south of San Francisco, but elevation, altitude looks like 21,008 or 900 and climbing like a banshee. It's very hard to keep flying level. It appears from the markings on the glass panel that it has autopilot somewhere, and it also has artificial intelligence assist, like many of the new fighter jets do, to help the pilot fly. So now we're swinging around and heading down the coast. But here we go. This is what I'm going to show you. It will do barrel rolls quite easily. And you can induce a barrel roll with the stick and the ailerons. Or, as you can see, you can just throw the rudder over and it causes it to spin like a porpoise. Kind of does look like a flying shark, doesn't it? It's all engine, and the rotor looks like it's only like 6 or 8 feet in diameter. Why even put a rotor on this jet? I think somebody would just, I'll have to look and see who did it, but I don't remember now. I got it. It's one of the shareware sim planes. But it appears when you're flying, when you're looking at it like this, that it's pretty stable, but I found that it's really a hard thing to control, especially like most planes that close to VNE. Although I don't know what VNE is on this one, since it's, like I say, the point is 0.9 Mach, is what I'm assuming that number is. I don't really know, but I know it's fast because we made it from even the minute or two I was playing around on the ground at Castle, and the time that we've been in the air. So I'm guessing, I was on the ground a couple minutes at least. It says 11:30 now, so that's 9:30 from Merced to the coast, which is, as you drive it, that's about a 2.5 hour drive. So it's probably going 600-700 miles an hour, somewhere around in there. Don't really recall right off the top of my head what Mach 1 is, but I also noticed there's a number that pops up in the upper right corner of the glass display in the center that runs like 1300, sometimes up to 2100. I don't know whether it's rotor RPM. I don't know what the RPM, what the numbers in the center are. They're running in the 2000s usually when you're running at full throttle like this. And anyhow, it's we're moving along. The total flight was only 49 minutes, and I went from Merced to the coast, flew down the coast to San Luis Obispo, turned around and took almost a direct line, not exactly a direct line. I came back in to the valley and then turned north and flew back to Castle, which is an 11,000 foot runway. That's where I was going to attempt to land, and I damn near did it, as you'll see towards the end here. We're getting to some of the better stuff now because since I'm at 21,000 some odd feet right now. We still have lots of sun. I'm checking the map to figure out where the heck I am. And you can see, I don't know if you can see this map, it's hard to see, but I have a little orange flashing aircraft out there off the coast. And it looks like we're, somewhere around Monterey maybe, at this point, off the coast of Monterey. It's hard to tell with this map unless you really zoom in. But there is, no, there's San Luis Obispo Airport. It's right at the bottom of the screen. And it's now 14 minutes and 19 seconds into the flight, including the 2 minutes of ground time, so about 12 and a half minutes. So we're cooking. I think this, I'm going to have to actually calculate this out, because if I can do it on a sectional, plot out the nautical miles and divide it by, use my little EB6 calculator and find out what the true airspeed was. True ground speed, I mean. But I am not sure. I know you gotta think fast on one of these things, because at this kind of speed, I mean, it was totally surprising. Anyhow, stick with me or fast forward a little bit here and you'll catch the really nice sunset that I got. I got some photos. That's the photo that's the lead-in photo on this video. I'll also stick a copy at the end so you can see it. And you can fast forward to the end if you want. And this is just play. This is nothing to do with my pilot training, nothing to do with anything useful that I'm trying to learn, because this plane doesn't exist, and if it did, it probably would fly. I imagine it could exist, but why would you just take a wagon wheel on a Mercedes, you know, or a Corvette? Anyhow, I'll keep blabbing here since I probably used to sorry about the beeping, the beeps in the back. That's the cell phone and the messages. So anyhow, I'm going to stop here for a second. Okay, I'm back. So you can see the sunset coming up, starting to set on to your left. I mean, excuse me, the right, the other left. To the right here, since I'm headed south, it looks like. Anyhow, I'm going to be checking the map a couple of times, and then we'll see what's going on here. I'm dropping down in altitude. I was going to drop under the clouds, but I'm down about 4,000 feet now, so that means I'd be right on the deck, and there's probably clouds right on the deck, so I'll stay up for a little bit here. Stay up above them for a while. I think I got a little bit of time, a couple minutes anyhow. We're now 17 minutes 49 seconds into the flight. checking the map again here in a second to see how I'm doing. I actually did locate the San Luis Obispo Airport, but never could slow this monster down slow enough to make an approach. So you'll see an approach right at the end of the video where I'm coming in a long way out in a long gentle glide slope coming into Castle, and no mountains around there, so nice and flat by Castle. Yeah, see the clouds are disappearing now, and you'll get a nice treat out of this in the sunset. So it would be kind of cool if you could really fly one of these, but it's like all other dreams or things that people imagine. That's the beauty of a simulator. You can make any kind of plane you want, whether it flies or not. Although it has to be with X-Planes, which is the simulator I'm using. You do have to make a plane that theoretically could fly. And since this has two jets engines, it could be a brick and it would still fly. As long as it had some control surfaces. These, as you can see, they're pretty stable right now, but it really is hard to keep. It wants to just roll. You just think about turning or don't pay attention to the touch on the stick and it rolls on you. Although I found that you can correct it, like most high-speed planes, you can correct it with the rudder too a little bit. You can cause it to roll back. Although you're really turning the whole plane, that's not the right way to do it. Oops, don't know what I'm doing here. Look, oh, this is where I ran out of fuel. So you can't see it, but I went back and the thing only starts off with a half a tank of fuel. So I filled it back up again, which was more than enough to get me back to Merced. So imagine this thing burns 100 gallons an hour. Maybe. I don't know. I'll have to check and see what the specs are. I can look it up in Model Maker and see what the fuel tank is. So, anyhow, you can see now we're coming up. I'll check the map here again. I will be checking the map here again in a second. There we go. I gotta relocate the map. Okay, so I'm up there off the coast, up around Hearst Castle, that area, the north end of that bay, north of Morro Bay, and your sunset's starting to develop there. I'm gonna cut inland and get ready to see if I can find this airport. Yeah, see, it's kind of unstable once you bring it back. You just touch it. You think about turning. It's one of those planes where you just think about it's going so fast that you just think about it and you turn. Yeah. Actually, if we were really in this plane, you'd be sick by now. Anyhow, I'm kind of running out of things to say here, but I'm trying to stay on board. In fact, I'm going to shut up for a minute and let you listen to the thing. I'll cut back in when we actually get to San Luis Obispo Airport, which is only about 10 miles out. down to like 10% thrust. Dropping down like crazy. We're at 16,000 and dropping, but we're dropping at not too bad, only 1,000, 1,200 feet a minute. So, although it looks more than that, it looks like it's much greater. And I think the calibration's all off on this sim. Anyhow, I'll have to check the map a couple of times here, but I was actually very surprised that I found that I actually found the airport. And something going this fast. Okay, back in a minute. These blanks you hear here in the sound file a little bit not synced. When I just play the map, it cuts out the engine noise, but it's real hard to keep them synced, especially since my recorder records fine. It records perfectly in real time, but the problem is the X-Plane video recorder is not standard speed. It's some oddball frame rate. I haven't quite figured out what's going on there. Anyhow, here's your sunset. We'll zip out to the coast here for a second and you catch it. That's perfect. Now I'm checking the map again. Anyhow, nice, pretty, huh? Nothing like a sunset over the ocean. Anyhow, you'll see the airport here in a minute. I actually do find it, I think. I hope I didn't already go by it when I wasn't watching. Yeah. Pretty, huh? That's why I'm flying out this way. What the heck, at this speed I can afford to do anything. Anyhow, the other thing that's kind of pretty is when we're going back, you'll see we're going in the opposite direction, so the sun's at our back and it's reflecting off the clouds. It's pretty cool. You see them all the time from the underside, but you don't see them from the top side all the time. Yep, airport's here somewhere. Okay, yeah, there it is, dead ahead. See the beacon light blinking? But the center of the windshield there. And we're down to like 2,400 feet. Yeah, there's the airport dead ahead. So I'm going to go out and I see that the runway, I'm going to try to, that's the problem. You can't turn this thing on a dime because it moves so fast. You turn and you made a mile circle. But don't get excited because I don't actually land here. I don't even attempt to. I have to get pretty close to the ground though. Another neat kind of, now the coastal mountain range is in front of the sunset, so it's kind of cool. Like a 2G turn there, maybe a 3G turn. You can tell I'm moving. I'm moving several hundred miles an hour here. Not exactly sure. Yeah, here's the airport again. There ain't no way I'm gonna land on that thing. Not without having a lot more practice. I haven't successfully landed this plane yet, so I'll have to do it in the daytime when I can just get out there and see what flaps, and if it has flaps, I'm assuming it does. And what kind of approach speed. I imagine you got to keep it up around. So that's the whole thing. It's not actually telling me my speed. I'm just seeing my engine power. Maybe it does. Maybe I haven't studied the instruments close enough. But I'm thinking you've got to be coming in at 125, 150 miles an hour to keep this thing in the air. Ooh, there's their sunset. Perfect. Perfect. Almost perfectly on the water. That jerking is that plane, well, it's obviously they get the jerk on the stick, namely the pilot, but this thing is so touchy. Anyhow, time to head back here, so I'm gonna banker hard and head her to the north. Since I gave up trying to land. So here you'll see the clouds coming up now as we're going to start heading back into the Central Valley of California. Yep, that squeak you hear is my chair. It's not the airplane. I do try, since I got a little bit of this was the longest leg of the flight, I do try to keep it, the vertical speed indicator on the left side of the glass panel. I try to work it. I did try turning the artificial intelligence help off and on, and it didn't seem to make any difference. There's the top of the clouds. Nice, pretty orange clouds. Yep, there you go. And I'm not doing this just to give you a view of the clouds. It's the plane going back and forth, rotating. I'm actually turning a little bit here to what I think. I'm trying to get it lined up to like about 30 degrees. That's my guesstimate of what direction I had to go in, which was good because it got me in the general area, and then I fine-tuned it with the map. Okay, I'm going to shut up here until we get close to Merced again, Castle Airport. So I'm just going to let you listen to the drone of the motors. I'm going to be checking the map here in a minute, so the sound dropped out, so I figured I'd take a chance to say where I'm at. I think this first check of the map, I'm like over Lemoore or somewhere in the Central Valley. Still moving pretty good, so we'll check here. Map should pop up in a minute. It's funny, when I get the sound synced at the beginning and the end, the middle is off just slightly. Yep, don't know what that was. Map's got to be coming up here somewhere. He said the map's coming up here somewhere. Anyhow, I'll jump back in when the map's are and I'll tell you what I see on the map. I knew as the minute I stopped talking that it would be, I can't see the map here. I don't have it big enough, but anyhow, I did realize I have to turn north at this point. So otherwise I'd be in the Sierra Nevada range pretty quick here. So I'm kind of correcting it to almost due north. Plane seems to be flying pretty stable at the moment. Anyhow, back in bed. What I'm doing here is I'm backing the thrust down and see if that makes it a little bit more stable. A lot of times when you fly a plane at full thrust, it doesn't, it gets real twitchy anyhow. So that's why they have VNE, because there's a certain point it becomes uncontrollably twitchy. Okay, that much just saw the lights flash. I pushed the test button to see what it do. Here's a roll for you. Wasn't intentional. I just lost it and decided to go. So it was all upside down. Just went the rest of the way around. So anyhow, another map check. A little bit longer one here is going to be coming up where I actually find a castle on the map and turn on the beacon so I can get a bearing on it. The X-Plane has a real nice map feature. It just pretty much pops you up, but there's a little trick, as you notice. If you were to grab that little plane there with the cursor and then drag it, it'll crash you. I don't know whether it's intentional or whether it's a bug in the software. I think it's intentional so that you can't just grab the plane and move it from 1,200 miles away and make the flight shorter. Because the minute you let go of it and go back in the thing, it shut your engine down and down you go and you crash, and then it relocates you to the nearest airport, airfield, whatever. And anyhow, I see Madeira at the top, so we're getting close. Madeira is only 34 miles south of Merced, so anyhow, that's what that map check was. And we got another one coming up here, but I'll be back in a few seconds. Map one last time here, and you will see when the map pops up here that I've actually located Merced Castle, which is an 11,000 some odd foot runway, and the only place I know the territory right. I know how to make the approach and to get a straight shot. So you'll see towards the top here when I roll it down. There we go. So right now we're about 25 miles out. We're already past. Nope, that was Madeira head. There's Merced. I'm trying to find it. Yeah. So anyhow, that really about 40 miles out. But at the speed, that's going to be no time at all. So getting down to the point where Civil Twilight's going to come in, because I only have a student pilot license, so I can't fly at night legally. You can fly a simulator all you want, but can't do it for real. And even when I get my full ticket, it'll be a sport pilot, which is again VFR, and from Civil Sunrise to Civil Twilight. anyhow, what helps me here is once I get down, I'm going to be letting the altitude drop. I'm pretty much keeping it in level flight now, as you can tell by the vertical speed indicator on the left side of the glass panel. That's holding it pretty well. You can, if you just really concentrate, you can keep this thing flying pretty straight and level. But it's a job. You have to work at it. Anyhow, the map will be coming up here in just a minute. And I think at that point I'll probably be only 10 miles out, maybe. That depends on the scale as you scale the map. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, according to that, I'm 15 miles out. And what's helpful now is you see what's lighting up down there is Highway 99. It's almost like a line that it's lit up most of the way now. And I don't know whether that's in real life or not. I guess it is. I know it's lit up a lot of the ways. I drive up that highway a lot. But I'm not, couldn't swear that it's lights all the way, which would make no sense at all. I don't think it does, but at least in the simulator it does, which is kind of neat because you can use it as an IFR. I follow roads at night, since it's all lit up. IFR does not mean I follow roads, just in case you don't know. It means instrument rated flight or instrument flight rules, IFR. VFR means visual flight rules, just in case. But if you're watching this, you're probably a pilot or a wannabe pilot or a student pilot or something like that anyhow, so otherwise you wouldn't be watching this garbage. Or you could just be a gamer. A lot of people play these simulators just for a game. Okay, so there is Castle coming up dead ahead. That nice long strip there. The airfield you see on the right side of 99 is regular Merced Municipal. Where I normally fly out of, but it's not near enough field to attempt a landing with a jet. I mean, you can, but not for somebody like me. So what I've done now, I'm gonna push my flaps button on my controller here and assume that this thing it's gonna slow me down quite a bit. We're down to 4,000 some odd feet now. And actually, at one point here, I did get the beacon saying it was right on the glide path. But at the last minute, as you will see, I didn't keep enough power in, enough airspeed. And so I landed a little bit short. Not bad. Nobody got hurt. Didn't wreck the plane. Yeah, sure. But anyhow, okay, we're getting there. Wait for it, here we come. Okay, that's all for tonight. See ya, folks. I'll let you hear the crash. Yep, not one of my better landings. But no fire. I'm only laying on the side. And I probably tore the rotor off. See you next time.
That's all, folks.